Right, let's continue. Another interesting part is if you go down here, uh, let's say, yeah, part two. No? So basically, after you finish all that information, here is the crucial part where you say, hey, who is the 25% foreign shareholder, right? So check here if any direct or in ultimate direct 25%. That means that if you through all sort of strategy, as long as you get the 25, your ultimate or indirect 25 foreign shareholder list in part two is surrogate form. Surrogate form is like you do not hold that directly. Okay, you may use some sort of a mechanism to actually control, but you do not act as a control. So most of the time, you do not need to take it if your structure is pretty clean. For example, your personally you own that, it's not a surrogate. But if you got like a really complex structure, you have to really think about this. Okay. For the simple, just a simple member LLC and all that, you don't need to click that for most cases. Okay. So for name and address of direct, yeah. So remember, this is like two things, name and address. So two things need to fill, not just name. I see a lot of even the professional fill this information just to fill the name. Okay, that's incorrect. It's name and address. Okay, so the address need to check out. Okay, so if you file another any information return or tax return, as long as the address that connect to you, because this is like actually connect to you through the say identification number as well as reference ID number, or foreign taxpayer identification number, FT. Okay, because everything is connected. Okay, if you file that and this doesn't check out, this creates kind of an inconsistency. Okay, you don't want to get flagged by a system, right? So tell the truth, right? So name and address, fill that in the 4A. For B, US identification number. So basically it's SSN or ITIN. Sorry. Ooh, what am I doing? Like a management class? Okay, doesn't really matter. ITIN. Okay, how to get rid of this? Let's do that. ITIN. Right, ITIN. So basically, that's like a major two things that you need to be aware of. If yeah. By the way, I also want to talk especially about this ITIN. Okay, ITIN is identification number that say for example you want to get the 1040 non-resident alien, right? Something like that. You somehow receive say dividends, investment income, and all that, or whatever reason. Okay, you get a US source income, and you did not get SSN. Okay, you use this ITIN, and ITIN need to be like renewed like every 3 years. Okay, or it will expire. But here's the thing: this does not necessarily mean that if you feel that here it's not considered used. Okay, you still need to file your like a personal like 1040 and all that in order to renew. And in order to renew that, sometimes it's like attached to this 1040 AR in order to keep it active. Some people, especially some clients, say, well, what about using the bank report, like information return? The bank asked me to fill that. Does it consider used? Well, it does not consider you. You have to like file the tax return. Okay, so even though maybe you enter your ITIN here, does not automatically renew it. Okay, you're not actually using it. You're not filing tax return. This is just sort of identify yourself that you are the owner, that you got the ITIN. That's it. Okay, reference ID number. Okay, this is just some number. If you don't have like SSN, ITIN, and all that, you make things up. Okay, you make things up, but you have to be unique, and you have to stick to that, and that is your number. Okay, so for example, you got some technology company, and then you are the owner, right? And then you got like this is like year 25, and then you got a year 25. Okay, you just stick with that every time you do that. Don't use special symbol. Don't make it too long. Okay, I believe the rule, if you look at the information, it's like 25 or something. Okay, just don't make it crazy long. Okay, make it memorable. Every time you find things, you need to make a copy of it. You stick to it. Okay, that's your reference ID number. And foreign taxpayer identification number. So, for example, for some countries, it's the ID number. For some country, got a specific tax number. And for example, if it's like a company holding in say LLC, right? So that company got a specific like company tax identification number in that specific country, really based on that country, that foreign country. So you have to make it true, right? And then fill that as well. And of course, if any. If you don't have any, I think inside of IRS they're using the reference ID number. That's the reason you have to be consistent, okay? And principal country where the business is conducted, country of citizenship, for example, is one person, like holding like single member LLC, and country under whose law the direct 25% foreign shareholder files an income tax return as a resident. Remember, previously I constantly stressed that here we got like residents. Country under which law reporting corporation file income tax as a resident. Okay, this is like resident, like as if it's saying a person, but in fact it's the reporting corporation. Okay, that's the corporation level. Remember, this is a foreign-owned corporation, so these two check out. And if you go down here, we got the here the foreign shareholder. Look at the wording here, right? Foreign shareholder as a resident. Okay, so for example, if from Singapore, from China, you just say that. Okay, and then you fill that. I usually don't use abbreviation. Just avoid some of misunderstanding. You write the full name. Okay, that's my personal suggestion. Don't use abbreviation. Don't just cause confusion for the IRS people, right? So yeah, you feel that most of the time it's exactly the same. And if you don't want to get like an ECI, okay, if it's actually, it's not like you don't want to one situation, but rather you need to be truthful. And if the thing is the case, then it's like a completely carry out the operation overseas, right? Not in the US. So that business is contacted, for example, in Nigeria, in Singapore, in Canada, something like that, right? So if it's not in the US, then we have to consider the ECI. Maybe it's not considered ECI. There's like no US source of income. Okay, but that's completely another issue. You just fill the information truthfully. Okay, if it's another country, just say another country. Okay, and if you look at that, the 5A, right, and 4A, and 6A, and all of that is kind of like a repetition. Okay, until all this. Okay, so if you got like a multiple shareholders, you might just fill all the information. Okay, so for the single member, just fill this single member, and you're good to go. Okay.